Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep today into the world of celebrity parties.
Oh, sounds fun.
Oh, it gets interesting, trust me.
Okay, I'm all ears.
So, we're focusing on parties hosted by none other than Diddy.
Diddy, huh?
Big name.
Definitely a major figure in music.
Yeah, for sure. I know Diddy.
Well, TMZ recently got a hold of his standard NDA,
His what?
his non-disclosure agreement, the thing guests have to sign.
To go to his parties.
Exactly, and let me tell you, it's a pretty fascinating read.
Oh, how so?
Well, first of all, it's not just about protecting Diddy himself.
It's not.
Nope, it covers a whole bunch of people.
Like who?
Family, past and present partners, friends, even business associates.
Wow. So, like anyone even remotely connected to him.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like this huge blanket of secrecy over his whole world.
That's intense.
And then you get to what you can't actually share, and that's where it gets really wild.
Okay, give me the juicy details.
Well, no unauthorized photos or videos.
Makes sense. Got to protect that image. Right, but it also says you can't even have someone else do it for you.
Oh, wow, so they thought of that loophole.
Oh, yeah, they're thorough. And forget about posting anything on social media.
Unless Diddy says it's okay, I bet.
You got it. No interviews, no books, no spilling the tea, basically.
Wow, so it's super locked down.
Totally. Now, the article calls this NDA pretty boilerplate, like it's standard.
Yeah, a lot of celebs use NDAs.
Right, but is it really that standard? I mean, the scope of this one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's not just about Diddy, it's about controlling the narrative around a whole network of people.
It's a lot of power, for sure.
And then there's how long it lasts. Ready for this?
Hit me with it.
Diddy's lifetime plus 20 years or 70 years total, whichever is longer.
Oh, 70 years. That's crazy.
It's like guaranteeing secrecy for generations to come.
Yeah, most NDAs I've heard of are like a few years, maybe a decade tops.
Right, so 70. It definitely makes you wonder what's so sensitive that it needs to stay hidden that long.
Seriously, what secrets are they keeping?
It adds a whole other layer of intrigue, right?
Absolutely.
So is this normal for NDAs, or is Diddy going way above and beyond?
It's definitely on the longer end of the spectrum. I mean, sometimes you see longer durations for like trade secrets or something.
Yeah, but for a party.
Exactly. That's what makes it so interesting. What could possibly be so sensitive that it needs to be kept quiet for that long? It definitely raises some questions.
And those questions get even more interesting when we consider Diddy's recent legal trouble.
Oh, right. I heard about that.
Back in September, he was arrested, and he's facing some pretty serious charges.
Yeah, remind me what those were again?
Racketeering conspiracy, which basically means being part of a criminal enterprise.
Wow. Okay.
And there's also allegations of sex trafficking, fraud, and transporting individuals for prostitution.
That's heavy stuff.
It is. He's actually in MDC Brooklyn right now awaiting trial.
So with all that going on, it makes you think about this NDA and how it might impact things.
Exactly. Like, could it hinder investigations or prevent witnesses from coming forward?
It's a really good point. I mean, would people be willing to risk violating this super strict agreement, even if they had important information?
Especially knowing it could hang over their heads for like 70 years.
Right. That's a huge deterrent.
It just adds so much complexity to an already complicated situation, doesn't it?
It definitely does. And it makes you wonder what was really going on at these parties that they needed such an ironclad NDA.
Exactly. And this is where the deep dive gets really interesting.
Okay, I'm hooked. What's next?
We're going to take a closer look at all of this and try to unpack the implications. What starts as a seemingly simple legal document becomes a window into this whole world of celebrity power and control.
I can't wait to dive in. It's wild how this NDA thing, with those serious allegations against Diddy, it really shows what can happen when you try to control information like that.
It makes you think, right? Like, people might be scared to speak up, even if they saw something.
Totally. They could be worried about breaking that agreement, even if they have important info, for the investigation.
Yeah, like their voice gets totally silenced.
Exactly. It's like a power imbalance, right?
Yeah.
You've got Diddy, this huge figure, using this legal thing to protect himself.
And what about the other people? The guests at these parties, do they have any say?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
NDAs, people just sign them without thinking sometimes.
It's like standard procedure.
Right. But in a case like this, you got to look at the power dynamic.
It's not a level playing field.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
So we've got this restrictive NDA, serious allegations, and now people might not even speak up.
It's a bit of a mess, isn't it?
It definitely raises concerns, yeah. But we got to remember, Diddy's innocent until proven guilty, right?
Yeah, of course, of course.
But still, this NDA adds a whole other layer to it.
It does, and it makes you question, how far will people go to keep their reputation clean?
And what about the people around them? What are the consequences for them?
It's a bigger issue than just Diddy, don't you think?
Absolutely. This is like a trend in celebrity culture.
Image is everything.
It is. And we see celebs using these legal tricks, NDAs and stuff, to protect their image.
Control the narrative.
Exactly. But is it ethical? Does it make things less transparent?
It's like celebrities play by different rules sometimes.
They do. And we gotta be careful, When we hear about celebrities, we can't just take everything at face value.
Think critically.
Exactly. Think about who's controlling the story, what legal stuff is going on behind the scenes, what's the power dynamic.
It's easy to get caught up in the gossip, right?
It is, but these are real people with real consequences.
And those consequences, they don't just affect the celebrity.
It's a ripple effect, their decisions, the agreements they make, it can affect everyone.
It's bigger than we think.
It is. So when we dig into this case, it's not just about Diddy and his parties.
There's a bigger story here.
Yeah, it's about power, controlling information, and how celebrity culture shapes our world.
Deep stuff.
It is complex, lots of layers. But if we look closely, consider all the angles.
We can learn a lot.
Yeah, we can understand the forces at play, what it all means.
And that's what the deep dive is all about, right?
Critical thinking, asking tough questions.
Getting you, the listeners, to think as well.
We're not giving you answers, we're sparking your curiosity.
Making you challenge assumptions.
Form your own conclusions.
So let's focus on that crazy 70-year NDA duration.
Okay, yeah, what's the deal with that?
Why keep things secret for so long?
Well, maybe Diddy's trying to protect his legacy,
Even after he's gone.
Exactly, like he wants to control how he's remembered.
It's a powerful thought, isn't it?
It is, trying to shape your image, even after death. Shows how much reputation matters, even then.
But could it be something else? Maybe business stuff, financial deals?
Could be, for sure.
Sure.
The entertainment industry is, super complicated, lots of money, partnerships, all that.
Maybe this NDA is protecting all that.
Keeping it secret for years.
So many possibilities, protecting his image, his legacy, his business dealings.
And we're left wondering what secrets are being guarded.
Right. It makes you think, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
These legal agreements, they're not just neutral documents, they're tools.
Tools for power.
Exactly. To protect interest, shape the story. Makes you think, what would you do if you were in this situation?
Imagine you get this invite, right, to one of Diddy's parties.
Oh, yeah.
The chance to rub shoulders with all these famous people, the luxury.
Sounds amazing.
But there's a catch. You got to sign this NDA.
Right, the silence agreement.
And not just for a little while, potentially for decades.
An I sign. That's a tough one.
It is, isn't it? Like, how much is that access worth?
Right. Is it worth giving up your voice, not being able to say anything?
It's like a deal with the devil, You get this amazing experience, but at what cost?
Makes you think about celebrity, how much we value it.
Like, are we so obsessed with fame that we'd give up our values just to be a part of it?
It's a big question.
On one hand, privacy is important, especially for people in the public eye.
Yeah, constantly being watched, I get it.
But when does privacy become a way to hide bad behavior?
That's the line, isn't it? Where's the balance?
This case really shows how important transparency and accountability are.
Especially for people with power, they got to be held responsible.
And these legal documents, we think they're just boring paperwork.
But they can have a huge impact.
They shape how we interact, what stories get told, what we even know.
It's all connected.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Diddy's parties and NDAs,
What have we learned?
it's a reminder to think critically.
About power dynamics.
Informed consent.
The consequences of silencing people.
And it leaves us with this big question.
Yeah.
In a world that's obsessed with celebrities, where's the line between privacy and accountability?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is, and there's no easy answer.
But it's worth thinking about, as we try to understand fame, power, all of that.
That's what the deep dive is all about. We're not here to give you the answers.
We're here to spark your curiosity.
Get you thinking critically.
And hopefully leave you with even more questions than you started with.
Because sometimes asking the right questions is more important than finding the answers.
It's all about exploration, digging deeper.
So keep asking those questions. Keep exploring. Keep diving deep. Thanks for joining us.